Shalom to all! Today's daf is Rosh on Daf Yod Zayin. We are starting 8 lines from the top, the last word on the line. And today's daf is sponsored in honor of the yard site of Maris Miriam Sar Basar Yaakov Moshe. Her neshama should have an aliyah, and she should be a Meilus Yosher for her family and all of Klal Yisrael. And Leili Nishmas Rabbi Chmiel Mordechai ben Reb Chaim, his neshama should have an aliyah. Now we are right in the middle of a brisa describing 3 categories of people: Tzadikim Gemurim, Rishayim Gemurim, and Beinanim, the intermediate group. That's what we call average people. And the brisa continues: Paishi Yisrael Begufan, Jewish sinners, but they sin with their bodies. Upaishi Umasa Elam Begufan, and non-Jewish sinners, and they also sin with their bodies. Yardim Gehenim, they go down to Gehenim, and Yidonim Ba Yud Beis Chodesh, and they get judged for 12 months. La'achri Beis Chodesh, after 12 months, Gufan Kala, their bodies are completely done with, finished Mas and Nisrefes, and their soul is burnt. V'ruach Mefazras and Tachas Kapes Raglet Tzadikim, and the wind scatters their ashes underneath the soles of the feet of Tzadikim. Shenemar says in the pasuk, V'asaisim Rishayim, and you will trample the Rishayim. Ki you Efer Tachas Kapes Raglechem, for they're going to be ashes underneath the soles of your feet. Aval Hamina, but heretics V'amasaris and inform us and Apikarsim Shekafru B'Torah V'Shekafru B'Tchias Amesim, they deny Torah and they deny Tchias Amesim. Now Minim are those who distort the true meaning of Torah. Maestro bring about that Jewish money is handed over to the Goyim, and Apikarsim are those who denigrate Talmidei Chachamim. These 3 groups of people, and also V'Shepershim Daket Tzibor, those who separated themselves from the ways of the Tzibor, V'Shanosnu Chitisam Ba'aretz Chaim, and those who instilled their fear in the land of the living, V'Shachatu V'Chtios Arabim, those that sin and cause other peoples to sin, Kigan Yeravim Ben Nevat V'Chaverav, like the Jewish king Yeravim Ben Nevat and his friends, Yardim Gehenim, they go down to Gehenim, V'Nidanim Bala Daridars, and they get judged there forever and ever. Shenemar says in the pasuk, V'Yatzu V'Ro B'Figure Anashim HaPaishim Bi, and they're going to go out and see the corpses of the men who rebelled against me, and really the continuation of the pasuk is what's important, Kisolatam Loy Samos, for their decay will not cease, V'Isham Loy Sichbe, and their fire will not be extinguished. Gehenim Kala, Gehenim will cease, but V'Hain Ein Kalim, they will not cease. Shenemar says in the pasuk, V'Tzurim Levale Sha'ol, and their form is going to outlast Sha'ol Mizavul Loy, and Sha'ol is Gehenim, so we see that they're going to outlast Gehenim. And V'Chal Kachlama, why is this so severe? That's because they stretch their hands against Zavul. Zavul is the Beis HaMikdash. That means their Averos destroyed the Beis HaMikdash. Shenemar says in the pasuk, Mizavul Loy, that's what the pasuk says, because of his Zavul. And Ve'ein Zavul al Beis HaMikdash, Zavul means the Beis HaMikdash. Shenemar says the pasuk, B'nai B'nisi Beis Zavul Lach, I've surely built a house of Zavul for you. V'Halei Amar Chan, and Chan said on them, Hashem Yichatum Rivav, Hashem, may those who fight him be shattered. And now we go to explain the brayso. So we had said these Beinim, they have a brief stint in Gehenim, and then they come out of Gehenim. He says, however, their faces look like the bottom of a pot. Even when you clean the bottom of a pot, it still is somewhat black. And he says, even though they were in Gehenim and their faces will still be black, they still are more handsome than the handsomest people of Mechuzah, and they're called B'nai Gehenim. And now Amar Marbes Hill, they had said in this brayso of Rav Chesed, that Hashem's midah of Rav Chesed, abundant in kindness, Mata Klape Chesed, that he tilts the scales towards kindness, and therefore these people are abandoning the average people. They don't even have to go into Gehenim. But as the Gemara of Haksiv says, and that also clearly tells us that people are going to go into Gehenim. The Gemara answers, Hazon Paish Yisrael B'Gufan. That's talking about people that are Paish Yisrael B'Gufan, and therefore they're going to go into Gehenim. The Gemara asks, what do you mean, Paish Yisrael B'Gufan? We had just said in the beginning of today's Gemara of Ha'amrit, you said Leslu Takanta, they have no way to rectify their sin. So how can you say that they go into Gehenim? So you say, no, Ki Leslu Takanta, what does it mean that someone who's a Paish Yisrael B'Gufan, he has no way to rectify his sin? That's B'Roiv Havainais. When they are majority sin, and part of their sin is their Paish Yisrael B'Gufan. But Hacho over here, they're 50-50, half sins, half not. The Isbahu Nami of the Paish Yisrael B'Gufan, and they also have the sin of Paish Yisrael B'Gufan, so they're going to go into Gehenim according to Beis Hill. So it's not sufficient for them unless they fulfill this pasuk of that a third of them are going to go into fire. But V'im Lav, if they have 50-50 and they do not have the sin of being Paish Yisrael B'Gufan, so then for Rav Chesed, we can apply this pasuk of Rav Chesed, Mata Klape Chesed, Hashem tilts their judgment towards Chesed, and they're not going to have to go into Gehenim. And the brayso continues, V'alein Amar David, and David said on them, Ahavti Kishma Hashem, I'm loved when Hashem hears my voice. Dar Shrava Hidarshins, Ma'idach Sev, what's pshat in the pasuk? Ahavti Kishma Hashem, Amar Knei Yisrael, Fnei Kosh Baruch Hu, Klal Yisrael says in front of Hashem, Ribbono Shel Olam, Amos I knew will Fnecha. When do I know that I'm loved in front of you? Bizman Shat Hashemei Kol Tachnunai, that's when you listen to the voice of my supplications. And the pasuk continues, Daloi Sevili Yeshia, I'm poor and you saved me. Afal Pisha Dal Animan HaMitzvahs, even though I'm poor for mitzvahs, I don't have a lot of mitzvahs. Lino Al Yeshia, I'm still fitting to be saved. And now I explain what we started out today with Paish Yisrael B'Gufan Ma'inei Yehu. What does that mean that we have a Yiddish sinner, but he sins with his body? Amarav Karkafta Lemanach Tefillin, this is referring to a head, a skull that did not put on tefillin. Paish Umsa'ul Magufan, what does that mean? We have a non-Jewish sinner and he sins with his body. Amarav Ba'avera, he's involved in immorality. V'shanastu Chitisam B'Eretz Chaim, the brayso had said, those who instill their fear in the land of the living. What does that mean? Amarav Chesed, he says, Uzab Harnas Hamatal Emi Yisera Al Tzibur Shalei L'Shem Shemaim. This is referring to a leader that he instills fear in the Tzibur, and it's Shalei L'Shem Shemaim. He does it with the wrong intentions. And Amarav Yud Amarav, he says, Kol any parnas, any leader that instills too much fear in the tzibur, and it's not l'shem shemayim. He's not going to have a son that's a Talmid Chacham. Shneimar says in the pasuk, therefore men fear him. He's not going to see any wise of heart. And we continue explaining Beis Hill, Rav Chesed, that means Matikla Chesed, Hashem tilts the judgment towards kindness. Hechi Avid, how does Hashem tilt it? There's two ways to tilt something. So for example, a seesaw, you could either sit down on one end or you could lift the other end. So Rabbi Elazar, he says, Kaivshai, Hashem presses down on the merit side. So therefore the merit side is weighing down the side of the Averis. Shneimar says in the pasuk, Yashav Rachamenu, once again shows mercy. Yechbai Shabanu Seinu, he presses down to outweigh the sins. Now Rabbi Yisrael Chanina Amar, he says it's the other way around. Noise, he actually lifts up the side of the Averis. Shneimar says in the pasuk, Noise Avain va'Iver al Pesha. But Tana the Rabbi Shmuel, we have a Rasa taught the Mismesh. Rabbi Shmuel, Maver Rishan, he removes the first one. V'chein Yamida, and that's the measure. Meaning he doesn't press down on one side or lift up the other side. When we have 50 Averis, 50 mitzvahs, so then he just takes away that first Averis. So now we can have the mitzvahs outweighing the Averis. But Amar Rabbi, he tells us, that sin itself is not erased. And why is that relevant to Yek or Ruba Havainas? If there's majority sins, even after he removed that first one, there's still more sins than mitzvahs. Machshabadayus, then Hashem takes that Aver that he had taken away and he puts it back onto the scale. And Amar Rabbi, he says, of anyone who passes over his measurement, so then Hashem passes over his sins. What does that mean? When a person is Mavra on his midas, that means he's not exacting, he's not medactic with the measurement of wrong that the person did to him. So since he's not exacting, he passes over, he says, it's not important. So Hashem says the same thing about that person's sins. Shenemar, it says in the pasuk, Hashem raises sin and he overlooks the sin. To whom does Hashem be to a person who overlooks his sin? And a story about this. Rav Huna he was sick. All Rav Papa came to visit him. He saw that he was very weak, meaning he was about to die. He told the people around, supply him with his provisions, meaning bring his tachlich and bring his burial shrouds. At the end, he got healed, he got better. So now Rav Papa was embarrassed to be near Rav Huna because he had basically told everyone that he's going to die and he got better. He asked him, my chazis, what'd you see? He said, in Hachi Hava, I actually was about to die, I was supposed to die. But Hashem told everyone up in Shemaim, since he does not set by his measure, meaning he's Mavra on his midas, so we're not going to be so set with him, and we're going to let him live. It says in the pasuk, for whom does Hashem raise up their sin, meaning he pushes their sin away, to someone who is over on his pesha, someone who's not so makbid on his midas when someone does something bad to him. And the pasuk continues, the remnant of his heritage. And Amar Achabar Chanina, Al Yavakatzba, the pshat of understanding this pasuk of L'She'eres Nachlasei is like a fat tail, meaning it's something geshmak, but it has a thorn in it, meaning understanding this pasuk is good, but there's a little bit of a damper to the understanding. How do we